I'll try and remember all the things that I've taught you over the week. If I've forgotten any, chuck some ideas in there because I probably won't remember all of them. First thing, bigger stance. Use your legs to absorb the force. The only time you can go smaller stance is if, there's my smaller stance, I have to be able to make the arms much smaller as well. I've got to be able to absorb through the structure of the arms much more. If I try to use big structure arms, small structure legs, it becomes force on force. So, use your bigger legs. Still a good solid stance, still got a power stance attitude to it, but give yourself some space. Okay, the other things were hollow your chest, see back, hollow your chest, push into your spine when that force comes on. Remember we did that standalone exercise, you just push and I push. That's, see, I'm not resisting, I'm just letting you push me back. You're just pushing my body weight back. If you push now I'm engaging my leg, I'm pushing against you. Now I'm just relaxing, that's just my weight. Push, letting you push my weight backwards. But through that structure, I'm hollowing out my chest. Now the reason we started hollowing out the chest was because almost everyone, when you push, was going like this. The shoulders were being, see, there's a spring, you see, there's a bit of absorption. I'm not bending my arms on my shoulders like that, I'm letting the scapula go back and together. Most of the time they're going up as well. This is a very unstable position to be in. Okay, so instead of using the legs to absorb the force, it was the shoulders. But of course, if anything had changed in that moment, you would have got knocked back. So the initial movement, you see, it's almost like the arms stay there. It's like I move away from my arms type of thing. So suck it back, hollow out the chest, because by hollowing out the chest, not only do you create that hoop-like effect, but you make sure that this is not happening when that's happening. Okay, the other things were the lifting. So we've hollowed out the chest, there's that slight sort of closing C-back sort of structure, and then the take it up and over, the upward pung type of thing, making sure that that is coming purely from the spine. No matter how big I do it, this is way too big of course, but see, it all came from the spine rather than, this is, see, that's horrible. That's just me trying to lift my arm. The arm doesn't lift. The arm spirals inwards, or maybe lifts an inch or so, but it is the spine which lifts it up. Spine straightens up and lifts up. As you lift the spine up, there's a slight dig on the right side, or on the pung hand side, whichever way you're going. So it's digging it in. There's the lifting up. That allows me to get that vertical line with my elbow rather than a horizontal line. So we tucked it in. That also allows my left elbow to come right up in the air to hit over the top of the hinge rather than trying to lift the elbow up like this. So the whole body is angling like this. So it's hollow out, using the legs, dipping, taking it over, and then making sure that the force of my hinge, when I engage my hinge here, push it to the side, see the direction I'm taking in towards that rear corner, rather than one. So I've sat back too far, in which case if I turn now, my force takes him that way. I need to be engaging the hinge as I'm sitting back, in which case my force naturally takes him towards the corner. So I'm sucking him in the whole time, never hitting him across. Sliding the hand, so you've got the 3 points touching. 3 connection points between you, not 3 each, but 3 between you at all times. At least 3 points touching between you at all times. So, here's 1 point, here's another point, here's another point. I push in, lost my 3 points. I took my hand off his elbow. What I want to do is there, I'm going to slide it as he's taking me into loose, slide the hand down all the way so that I'm touching all the way down through that entire movement. Now we've still got 3 points touching. Even though my touch here is on my own arm, it's still 3 points touching. Here, he's got my hand. Look, up. Shouldn't be, for example, like that. I've lost connectivity now. So I lost the 3 points touching. From my wrist, it comes onto my elbow, still 3 points touching. This one's hiding underneath now. Make sure that that left hand does not run away and separate, because now if he pushes that way, I can't do anything with that hand. But if it's under here already and he pushes that way, whoop, I can slip it past and come back with that one. So keep your hand under his hand, but also under your own elbow. Not like this, for example, because now he can grab my wrist and roll my shoulder over. So under his wrist, but under your elbow at the same time. That way I can do that when needed, if he does something specific to make me need that. But at the same time, he can't grab my hand. So that's a key point. And then he's going to slide down my forearm, down his own arm. So he's protected all the way along that line. That was the main thing we covered, was that the Lu movement could be executed anywhere. It doesn't have to be executed right at the last minute of the movement. So from here, you see I'm protected here. If something happens, boom, I can hit with this hand. If something happens a little bit further on, boom, I can still utilize this hand. So it's sliding and feeling and sensing until the last point of the move, which is the classical posture in the elbow. Now, protecting the elbow is important, but also guarding the structure of the protection. So my left arm is like my shield. He's doing Lu to my left arm. That's my shield. He has the potential here to hurt my arm, whether it be just an arm lock or an arm break, doesn't matter. He has the potential to hurt my arm. So I've got this in here, protecting myself. But what people were doing was protecting here, but folding the left arm in, this arm, not giving it to the person. So kind of doing something like this, where they're going, I don't want you to have it in the first place. But by trying to get it away and not letting him have it in the first place, it means that I'm crammed up, I'm closing myself off. So what was happening was, as I go to do Lu, if you tuck that hand back a little bit, from there, that's allowing me now to trap over the top, and then he's got no defense against what comes from here. Whereas if he gives me his arm, a lot of the time in martial arts you have to give people stuff. Now he's given me his arm. He's got a structure here. He's got a pung shield. This is his shield. That's just the structure holding up the shield, but this is the physical shield in that position. You want to be just a little bit more turned. That's it. Now, I don't want to go there. I feel like if I try to get there, I'm putting myself in a very vulnerable position. So you've got to hold your shield there. The only thing I can go for from here, I can get to here, you see? Which is not a direct attack, it's a set up then attack. But if I go here, I feel really vulnerable. He can fold me over and hit me in the head. So I'm going for that, and then of course that takes us back into the normal pushing hands.
Could you do the same on the hinge leading leg, or just change feet? Yes.
So the only difference there, that was the other thing we covered. If my left leg is forward, but I'm turning to my right, it means my hinge arm is my lead hand, which means the hinge arm does a bit more of the work. It's my front hand. The pung still does all the same stuff. There's nothing different. It's just a little bit of pung before the hinge. See? A little bit of pung before the hinge. You can see the whole, if we just speed up a little bit, like you can see the attitude is my left hand. It's like, see, I'm fighting him here. The left hand is fighting him. The right hand is my backup hand. Switch our feet. Now, see, it's the opposite. My right hand is now my fighting hand, even though I do still turn it back to this side, so we do close to that side eventually. But there's more of that movement before the hinge comes through on the end. So depending on, so you've got 4 different ways of doing it. Left and right, obviously, are the 2 obvious ways, but switch your feet while still going the same direction, and your lead hand will change from your pung to your hinge. You should practice all 4 of those variations. Right, what else was there? The changes of direction from blue. If I take my hand here, rather than going straight to his elbow, I take that hand and just strike straight towards his face. He uses sticky hands principles and pungs up with this hand. What? And he does Lu. Now we're on the other side. Very simple. Here's my Lu. Instead of going into, oh, I'm still going into Ang, sort of, but it's a different type of Ang. Instead of using my left hand as my setup and this one as my strike, I'm just striking straight towards him, but he catches it there, goes directly into Lu. And so, of course, from that position here, I'm coming through, I'm trying my best to kind of, you know, do something to this hand, but he's trapped me anyway, he's sucked that hand back. As soon as I feel him sucking me in, of course, this hand again would be sliding down, doing my squeeze. Then the other variation is from here. If he manages to get across my body, so he's not done a normal inward push, in which case I do the normal movement, he's pushed a little bit across my body. That's why I have this hand under here. When I feel it start to cross my body, I just flick this hand whoop, by sucking my elbow in, getting it away from him. See, it's much more, I didn't mention that the other day, that's a good point to say. Rather than trying to go, okay, you're pushing, right? And normally people resist a little bit, like a bit of a structure there. And I mean, there should be some kind of structure there, it's not just totally loose. But if I go like there, sorry, it won't be here, I still feel, even in this position, I still feel like, see, I've got to kind of go over to the hand, but instead, push on it, let the elbow come to the hand, let your hand pass my hand, and then I'm there, see? Exactly how, there's a technique in the live sensor that works exactly like that. So yeah, don't hold too much structure, because then you've got to actually go back, and by the time you've gone back, he's going to have your center for sure. So he pushes you across, let him push you across, you see? Cross yourself off, then you've got that one, boom, you can just grab it through, and then you're directly in Lu. And make sure you then go chi. So those are the 2 primary changes we looked at. Then we looked at if he does that same thing again, he pushes across, but manages to get me to the point where I made a mistake and I didn't get this on quick enough from that position. So I'm like, shit, no, I'm not going to get that on. That's where we stepped to the side and simply did like a dalu kind of thing. So that was, he's pushing me across. You got to make sure you move, not even there, so that's no good. He's still got my center. So you've got to move so that you're going around but away at the same time. If he's got that pressure on me, if I just try to move around him, he's got me the whole time, you see? So I have to yield in some way. Keep in mind, because of where I've gone, I'm allowed to step that way because I can see that way. Straight away, I can see where I'm going to be going. So whoop, you see, I've yielded to that elbow by stepping that way. Whoop, and then I've got my whomp, whomp, and then you can either come in with the shoulder and do some dalu, or just come back into your double push hands. Anything else? The push down, yes, the push down. If Manuel pushes down at any point during this movement, see what happens. Just do it a few random times so they can see the flow. Push normally, and just try to push down whenever you feel like it. Let's do it this way so the camera can see. See how when he's pushing straight, you can see this little bit of, there's a lifting, there's an uprooting of his energy. I'm taking that force in, sending it up and over and down. That's the normal push hands. But watch the difference when he pushes down at any point. See, there's no up, it's just straight down. It just compresses from that position. He's forcing me down. Because he's forcing me down, there's no reason to go up, and I can't really go up because he's forcing me down. Particularly, make sure it's down from both arms. If it was down from only this arm, I could sort of still go up, maybe, especially from a beginner's standpoint, make it a bit more obvious for them. So push down with both arms, that really makes me think, oh yeah, I can't go up. So force them to learn the new technique, even though you can still do it against just the arm. If you push down with both arms, yep, up feels like force on force, ooh, so I've got to suck it straight in. So that downward, see here's my push here, I push down with both hands, yeah, that's it, and you just suck it into loop. So it's all the same stuff, the only difference is you don't take it up and with a turn to that side, the force comes down, it's like a backward spiral, see? Much more going with, just purely going with the flow this way. And the hinge sort of still does a bit there, but because he's pushing so much down, it just sucks in, see? Much more in than it is across. So this, let's say the normal one is kind of like to the rear corner, what I said earlier. When he pushes down, it's still past me. I don't want to do this and pull it into me, because then he's got that line of fire. So it is still past me, but see how much closer past me. It's like he's literally just going to brush by my shoulder. So it's much tighter when you're doing that particular technique. Anything else?
Yeah, if the force is going up.
If the force is going up, there's no difference?
Yeah.
Because the force is always going up.
No, but you mean if it's too kind of...
Still shouldn't be any difference, because normally when I go here, in order to do my push, I'm not just pushing in, I'm aiming my hand towards his face, which is already an upward force. For me to go any more upward that, I'd be missing him, in which case he doesn't really need to, because I'm literally just lifting my hands in the air. The only difference, oh, we didn't do the arm, these things, those things as well. So, the thing we looked at was from both the pung hand and the arm hand. Actually, we looked at the hinge hand as well, because if the hinge hand, so my left hand now, this one over here, if I've left my hand out for the grabbing, grab my wrist, and he's already got the arm lock on, you see? So that was one of them, so that was just the hide your elbow. So no one was making that mistake though. But from here, if I if I have the ability to get under that elbow, I can rip his shoulder out that way, or slowly apply an arm lock as well. So that is on your pung, when he's doing pung. If he doesn't dip the elbow down and leaves it kind of like a pung like this rather than like this, it means I can get my palm underneath his elbow. Boom, and there's the hinge out. You're just going to snap your shoulder there. The other point is here on the push side of things. So he's pushing in. Again, the top hand should be elbow down. If he's got his elbow up, I can't hinge it. You've got to make sure you don't ever hinge. It's not just about, oh, I can apply this lock. You have to apply that lock. Okay? Because if you don't, you're going to be doing force on force. He lifts his elbow. Look where my hinge is going now. It's going straight into it, you see? Because of the angle. Even if I'm trying to kind of pull it back, it doesn't fit, you see? When his arm is flat, protecting his elbows, it allows me to move to the side of it, because essentially when it's like that, I've got to get, the only way I could do it would be to take a step, because this is much wider, it's sticking out this way, so I need to move further to get around it. But if it's down, on the one hand he's protected, but it allows me to get to here. So basically that structure allows me to defeat you, but without putting you in a terrible position. Whereas this structure allows me to defeat you and puts you in a shit position. So obviously you do the squeeze version. So that is regarded as a mistake. You should never ever lift an elbow where there's potential that the other guy's got your wrist on the other side. The first one's easier to do because I've got my hand under it. That's really nice and easy there. The second one here, you see it's the hinge arm under it. You shouldn't have to do this to pull off the lock. I've already got my elbow under it anyway. I should be able to just roll it there into that movement to apply that. Make sure the push, let's go this way for a second. Make sure the push, no, I'm going to go this way, what am I doing? the intent of the push we talked about, pushing this one in, 1, 2, and that palm is going there, across the side of the neck, you see, rather than, for example, to this side of the neck. Because that was one of the major corrections we made, was not just accidentally, see, and then I'm open. Because I was pushing out that way, he just let it go and slapped me in the neck. So make sure your structure is here. Like, that's what I'm trying to do to him, cover that and put that across his neck there. You can push sideways as long as you know you're pushing sideways. Like I'm pushing him sideways to get something on him. But if I'm pushing him sideways thinking I'm pushing forwards, that's when I'm going to be completely open to his counter. Covering the elbow. We talked about even if you're going really small frame, all this can be smaller frame, smaller frame, smaller frame, but when you push, never do a small frame push as in hands close together, because from this position he can fold straight in for that. No, the other side. No, just use, yeah, that's it. And use that elbow. Whoa, straight in with your elbow. Yeah, get me in the face with that elbow, that's it. Because my hands are close, I can't cover that elbow. So I go to push, whoa, and I'm going to eat that elbow, you see. So when I push, now, he's got to do more, because I'm covering all his joints, you see. So everything's covered. He's got that elbow over there, but that's sort of trickier to get to me, so that's why you can only do the hinge, you can't get it right up in my face. So that was another important point. Always push on the right side of that.
Guys, can you shuffle around that way? Thanks.
Anything else? Not to
take any pressure.
do passively turn.
That you turn now without my input.
Ah, yes, that's right. So after you do squeeze, when he does loo to me, see, I turned back before he even started attacking. That was a very common error amongst the group, going la-di-da-di-da, and he's still doing loo, but then I start turning away, and it just turns into there. So if someone's doing that, instead of just going along with the flow and pushing onto my elbow, just push straight up into my face. I'm going to have no cover for it. So I've got to take it down, wait until he comes onto me. Oh, there. So I don't react with this hung movement until I feel, there it is, when I feel his force starting to come forward. Irregardless of the center turn, that's not really what's important. It's that force, see, my body's absorbing. My body could be absorbing this way, it could be here, and it could still be absorbing. It doesn't matter which way my center's turning, I could still be absorbing. When that's when you want to turn and meet that, not meet that force, but prepare for that force kind of thing. Yeah, as soon as you try to preempt anything, don't preempt anything. Otherwise, the other guy will just do something else. Anything else? I feel like might be one or two other things, but I think that's just the technique of Lou, yeah. So he tries to do Lou by breaking, is trying to do something like that. When he does that, I simply just slip it off and put my whole palm, like I'm trying to grab his throat. I'm not grabbing, it's a strike like that with this bit here. But yeah, so if he just sort of, pulls just a little bit like he's testing me, I might just like, hey, what's that? Because remember, if someone just puts a little bit of pressure on you, and then you go, ha-ha, and try to do something big, maybe they're just testing you, see? Trying to get you to commit to something. So if you apply very light pressure, and then if I go full force in here, then I'm gonna land on your strike. So my strike should be like, oh, okay, what's happening? But if he really pushes it on, oh, okay, that's when he's committed to one line, so I can then commit to the other line because I know he's not going to be able to retaliate. So when you do that technique, just the technique side of it, I want to take this hand from in my chi when he applies that. See, not down the arm, because he can fold and do that, but also it's going to take much longer for me to get back to his center. So he tries to do that movement again. See how my hand's going straight towards him. And very important with this one is, do it again. See how that was, it felt stiff? I could do it, but it felt like I had to use a lot of force to do it. He puts that movement on. See, I'm actually trapping him with my elbow when I do it. It's the whole body's got to go in. So it's not that my right hand just comes to the rescue and does all the work, just my right hand. The left arm, you're extending it, and when it's in that position, that's going to be pretty tricky for me to get over your elbow, you see, unless I just use brute force and I'm stronger than you or something. But if you've got that elbow controlled, you've got that there, that's going to be hard. I only need to get that just there, literally just an inch down, and then I've got my elbow bent. So that's why I say I don't need to push this off my arm. I only need to push it just a ½ inch. That's enough to be able to fold my elbow in, because now you can't stop me from bending my elbow, because I'm not bending my elbow if you hold that arm tight. I'm trying to bend the elbow as in towards me, but you can't stop me doing it if I push it towards you, right? Because this part stayed where it was. So yeah, you only have to get it just that little inch, and the elbow traps him completely, whilst this one's barging in. So it's still a strike, but it's like a barging strike. It's not like, wow, as in like a big waist turning like a punch type of strike. It's a here a bit, whack you into that hole. So see that I'm still hitting you there, just gently, but you can see that the way I'm moving my body. There's the pressure. I'm using my body weight to put that power in. Of course, there's still a little bit of that on it, but I'm not opening the center. It's dominantly a body weight type of linear vertical power charge there. And of course it's going across the neck. From there, you go wherever you want from there. So that's the loop. And that's it. Yeah? Gee, we did a lot of stuff this week.